Hey, look at that. It's functional. Beautiful. I love when the live stream works. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, for those of you who have not seen any of the previous streams, this is a little series that we call the Joy of Pancakes. Forgive me here, I'm getting my little setup finished off here. My name is Daniel Drake, Daniel James Drake. Find me on Instagram, Twitter, all that jazz. But I am going to be sitting down here and making some pancake art for y'all. So please feel free to come in, hang out, enjoy the chill music, have a nice conversation, leave me some comments in the chat, and yeah, we'll have a nice little afternoon here. Joy of Pancakes, we stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time, just right where I'm based, here in St. Louis, Missouri. Running this out of our studio in Maplewood, and yeah. Now, normally, when I do these, I take prompts from the chat, and I just kind of roll with it. Freestyle some beautiful pancake art for folks that are watching. Usually do it for about 2 or 3 hours, make about 3 or 4 pieces in that time, so this is going to be that kind of a stream. You're going to just chill and watch an artist work. Oh, we got some folks over on YouTube. Let me see, put my glasses back on. Silly Things of Life, hello. Good to see you again. Good to see you again, Misty. And Maya, hey, how you doing, Maya? Pearl, good to see you, Pearl. Thanks for dropping in, y'all. Welcome to the stream. Y'all might notice that we have a little, we're playing around with a widget there. So we've got some of the stream showing up right there on the screen. If it works properly, then it should take all of the comments from the restream in general. And so if folks are talking on YouTube or if folks are talking on Twitch, you'll be able to see it, or Facebook, all that stuff. So howdy. JJ on YouTube says, how long have you been making pancake art? In my life, I've been making it for about a decade. I got started dabbling in the medium as a fry cook at a diner in South St. Louis about 10 years ago. Just trying to make better tips. Almost 11, honestly. I think I was 19 at the time, and I'm 30 now, so how's that one for you? Pancake art has become my calling. Maya, watching your favorite Dr. Dan and playing Animal Crossing New Horizons. That's pretty cool. We were talking about New Horizons the other day, weren't we? It's a fun, very cute little game. Now, I rushed to get this stream started because I was running behind a little bit. So forgive me for a second while I arrange the colors. I've got a couple more than I usually have, which I seem to say that every stream. I just keep expanding the palette. I can't stop. But yeah. If y'all want to give me a suggestion for what I should start with, what piece of pancake art I should start with here, I'd be happy to oblige. Generally, for those of you that aren't familiar with the stream, I like to do things that are not necessarily branded. I like to do things that are sort of open-ended and freestyle. Like, rather than do Scooby-Doo, I'd like to do, do something heartfelt or something spooky or, things like that. But otherwise, yeah, there we go. I got it all arranged there. Should be able to handle that. Stephanie Arnett on Facebook says, Halloween themed. Silly Things of Life says, draw your cat. An Among Us character, that would probably be a good one. Isabelle on Animal Crossing would probably be a good one. We got a lot of comments. Holy Toledo. This is making me happy. And I don't know if y'all noticed, but I now have a Bluetooth mouse. So if I miss your comment, I can scroll up without having to get out of my chair. And I can change the camera angles right here. Look at that. I'm from the future now. We're leveling up. Do. Okay, I'm going to stop that now. Thanks for bearing with me. Bluetooth keyboard, Bluetooth mouse. We're doing it up. So let me see. We got Adam Topkoff on Facebook says, what's up, Dan? What's going on? How you doing, Adam? Good to see you. Good to see you again. Hey, Becca. Everybody's hanging out. This is wonderful. So Isabelle on Among Us character, my cat, Fibbing, he's a very handsome boy. A purple Among Us character. I like that. That probably wouldn't take me very long. And I think Among Us has been doing, it's very popular right now. So, ooh, a cornucopia. That's another good one. Okay. Oh goodness, we got so many good suggestions. Oof. Okay, I'm going to write a couple of these down because I actually really love all of these suggestions. I'm going to see if I can make a couple more than I'm used to. Let's see. So cornucopia, ghost Halloween themed. Let's see. Isabelle from Animal Crossing. And Purple Among Us. Those are all good suggestions, and I can probably knock several. I'm going to start with the Among Us character because I think that's going to take me the least amount of time. Those are very simple designs. I think the yeah, that's not going to take me any time at all. We're going to start with something real simple. This is going to be a tiny pancake too. This will probably be a nice little coaster. Preserve it like that. Yeah, let me go ahead and get started. We'll put that on the overhead. I feel so cool. I can just switch to the camera angle I want now. And I'll get started. Yeah. Do a little Purple Among Us character. Oh, my batter's a little thicker than I thought. Or maybe it's just this tip. This tip is a little finer than I expected. That's okay though. Very thick, bold line work on these characters. I'm really happy for this company. I don't know what I can't think of the name of the company, but the people that make Among Us. It's really cool to me when I see, you know, small projects like this, like go viral and take off, and find an audience that just loves what they're doing and finds success. Because I think that there's a lot of it's really cool when somebody that doesn't have a massive marketing budget is able to find success, and you know, they don't have to take out television ads and all that sort of thing to make a splash and find themselves the talk of the town, as it were. It's kind of a gray, but I'm going to just use this dark blue. Yeah, see, this one's not going to take any time at all. This will be really simple. I don't normally do just basic requests like this, but, you know, and so many comments there at the start. Felt like it would be fun. This indigo is shading on purple here. Seems like a lot of my bottles today have a little bit of water still in them, or the tips do. So the first little spurts there are liquidy. Okay. Such a goofy little art style. I really like it. We'll cook that real quick. Yeah, Becca, I'm really happy with the restream. Ben put that in. Ben's a bit of a wizard. He installed that widget yesterday, and it makes me really happy to see that we can make. Because one of the things I really didn't like about the stream before is that, you know, it's cool that we can stream on all of our platforms, but I didn't like that everybody's comment wouldn't be visible to everybody else. So it makes me pretty happy. I'm going to do Isabelle after this one, Maya. I'll pull in Isabelle up right now, because these are ones that I know will do well, just its images. Oh, Isabelle. Now, like I said, this isn't normally how we do the Joy of Pancakes stream, but I'm in a really, really good mood right now. And no lags on YouTube. That makes me very happy. This is making me happy. Just the fact that I'm tickled that I can do this. That I can just boop. Maybe I want to show them this angle. You know, just having a. It also makes it easier for me to talk to y'all, right? Because like I think, you know, with it being automated to switch every 30 seconds like it has been, it's a little bit harder for me to like if I have a point I want to make, or if I want to say something directly to you. I can't just switch to this camera, but now I can. So it's like, hi, I'm here. Makes me feel really good. I think it's weird how like little subtle shifts in the way a system is set up can have really big long-term impacts, you know, like Mia Harvey on Facebook says, I need you at my wedding. I would love to be at your wedding. If you are serious about that, go to dancakes.com and fill out the booking form. We can work something out. That'll send an email straight to Hank's phone, and Hank handles all of our logistics and stuff, but I would absolutely love to be at your wedding. Depending upon when and where it is, and if there's still like a mess of a pandemic going on, we might be able to work something out as far as a digital event, or we could even just make, in fact, last week I made two preserved pancakes of couples portraits for weddings. And so they actually just they're going to have these framed pancakes sitting next to their wedding cake, which I think is really special. It's the first time I've ever had a chance to do that, so that'd be really cool. Ashley Hines on Facebook says, do you eat all the pancakes you make? I do not. I every now and then I'll eat one of the pancakes that I make, but more often than not. Boop. Haha. It's Among Us purple. But more often than not lately, especially with the pancakes that we make on this stream, we preserve them. We preserve them, and you can actually see. Here, I'll switch back to the wide here. Grab one of these off the wall. This is one of my favorites. But this is what they look like. Basically, what we do is what's going on with that? One second. Can you hear me now? What the heck? Okay, that's weird. I don't know what happened. Here, give me just a moment, y'all. I'm gonna change the batteries in my mic pack, and we'll see if that prevents that from happening again. Thank you for letting me know in the chat. I definitely appreciate that. Mic check, mic check, mic check. Oh, hello? Oh, I'm seeing your comment now, Ben. So you think I should just switch packs? Cool. All right. Mic check, mic check. Shmoopa-doopa-doobity-doo-doo-doo. Dooba-dooba-doobity-doo-doo-doo. Gonna put on these headphones and check the sound and see if it's working out. Alright, that sounds right. Alright, cool. So, as I was saying, these pancakes are great. Buy them from us. All the ones that are on the wall are currently on the store online. I don't know if any of them have been spoken for yet or not. But, there we go. Yeah, let me go ahead and plate this. I'll get started on this Isabelle pancake, and then once I knock that out, for my friend Maya, we'll do some, I got that other spooky one on there, Ghost. I think a ghost would be really fun, interesting Interesting 5. Hey, it's Bobby in the shop. How you doing? Good to see you. Wow, look at everybody. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. This is really cool. This makes me feel spectacular. All right. Overhead. There's a nice little simple Isabelle from Animal Crossing. Eventually, I want to get a part of the overlay to read that. Oh yeah, Priscilla, I will totally explain that again in just a second. I want to get an overlay that'll like tell you like what I'm working on or what the prompt I'm working off of is and how the stream works and all that stuff. We'll get that set up at some point. But yes, so Priscilla, could you explain again how they get preserved? So what we do is we freeze dry the pancakes, that extracts the moisture from them. And then we Mod Podge them, which Mod Podge is sort of like craft glue. Like people will put it on, like when they finish a jigsaw puzzle, they'll cover it in Mod Podge to preserve it. It just holds the whole thing together, and most importantly, it seals it from outside elements, because the next step in the process is we sink it into tabletop resin. We build frames. Hank actually is the one that builds most of the frames. But once we've built frames, we put the pancake in it and put tabletop resin all around it. So it kind of looks like it's suspended in glass. And so the reason that we have to put the Mod Podge on there is because if we don't, then the resin, the tabletop resin itself, will sink into and sort of like hypersaturate. It like saturates the actual pancake itself and makes it really weird and splotchy looking. But yeah, after that, it's done and it's preserved for all time, at least as far as I know. The oldest one I've got is, it's coming up on 2 years old, I think. I mean, something like that. Maybe time is weird, so maybe I'm wrong about that. But it's sitting on my wall at home. It's a mimic from Dungeons and Dragons, which is a monster that takes on the form of treasure chests. Oh, shucks, Charlene, I appreciate that. Becca, what'd you say? Man, I'd love to play Among Us with everyone. I've never played it, but it sounds like it's similar to Mafia and Town of Salem, so I should pick it up quickly. Yeah, we were talking about maybe doing a Dancakes community Among Us game. I haven't really taken any serious steps towards facilitating that, but if it's something everybody's interested in, we can probably talk a little bit more about it. I get anxiety whenever I think about stuff like that, just because I feel like, oh no, I'm going to have to schedule something. And we are taking a bit of a break this evening after the stream. The Dancakes team is having just a really relaxing hangout session just here in the studio. It's possible we might stream some of it, but we're just trying not to. We all have been facing some burnout just because of how much we've been trying to like work to pivot the company since the pandemic hit. Weren't necessarily taking the best care of our bodies and minds, and so that's why we've all been a little like off lately. If you've watched any of the streams and heard us all talking about like various health issues and stuff like that. But yeah, I think now that we're going more in this live streaming community direction, which is really, I'm loving it. It's extremely fulfilling to me, being able to hang out with people and connect with people on a regular basis like this. It's helping me stay sane, for sure. But now that we're doing this, it's definitely more likely that we'll start doing like actual community stuff like that, hanging out on Discords and playing video games together, which sounds extremely awesome. Once I get over my anxiety about the obligation angle, of like, I'm gonna have to do something and people are gonna be mad at me if I don't do it, and having a brain is weird. I think I got multiple colors here. Let me scroll back up so I see you guys are being super kind in the chat here. Silly Things of Life, you look so happy and energized today. It makes us happy too. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I got a lot of sleep, and I'm finally getting over my caffeine withdrawal, and I ate pretty healthy today, and yeah, I'm having a very good brain day, so I'm glad that it shows. I'm very glad that it shows. You are spectacular. Thank you, Charlene. Bobby in the shop, love these streams. Well, I love you in the stream, Bobby. So that's really cool. The color still looks so vibrant. Yeah, Priscilla, I'm really pleased with how we've been able to make the pancakes act like it's worth it. You know, like it's. I will admit that there's a tiny bit of vibrance that gets lost, and it's mostly due to the Mod Podge itself. The Mod Podge preservation thing causes a little bit of like it changes the coloration a tiny bit just because it's literally a layer of clear glue, but it's not really noticeable from afar. And also I think the shininess of the resin itself kind of compensates for it. It makes it look like super crisp and clean from afar. Like you have to get real close to see what I'm talking about as far as the discoloration. But yeah, I'm really happy with the process we've figured out. Jimmy Ellison says, love your art, man. It's so awesome. Appreciate you saying that, Jimmy. Thank you. I found this by accident and I love it. It's amazing what they can do with pancakes. I appreciate you saying that, Charlene. Becca says that the Mimic was a cool one. It's one of my fiance's favorites. Yeah, that's one of my favorites too. It was one, and since it was one of the first ones we successfully preserved, I felt like a very strong desire to have it on my wall, you know, as sort of a it's one of the only pieces of art I've ever made that I think it might be the only piece of art I've ever made that I've ever like hung on my own wall. So it's very meaningful to me. Just that we figured out the process and that I was happy with how that pancake turned out, and you know, all the good feelings. All the good vibes. Okay. Also, our artist Lee, who's based out of Phoenix, he streams with a company called C&E Games. He does this thing called Griddle Champions. It's like a little fun promo thing for the community around a D&D themed video game called Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. And they stream on Fridays, and I think they've been streaming on Wednesdays too. But it's usually right before this stream on Fridays. And I'm not sure if we've done it yet. I know that Ben told me that we are now hosting our other artist Jenny's streams on Saturdays via our Twitch channel. So if you go to dancakes.com/live, or if you go to the Dancakes Twitch account, you'll be able to see we're starting to rope some of our other artists into, you know, doing streaming content so that we, you know, it's like, you know, we have like our little pancake art guild. I'm very excited about the future of that. Let's see. I call Dr. Dan as my alibi. This is Sky Kid for Among Us gameplay. I appreciate you saying that, Becca, as far as the pressure. We'll figure something out. Pearl, I'm really glad that we can help you curb your quarantine blues and boredom. That's actually a really cool feeling. So I appreciate you saying that. Charlene asks, what are your tattoos? They look interesting. That's a great question. Time for me to tell you all a little bit about my tattoos here. Also, forgive me, everybody, because I'm about 20 messages behind the chat. So I'm trying to respond to every single one, so it might take me a minute. But so Charlene, my tattoos are, let's see, I have, well, this one is a memorial tattoo that I got for my younger brother was killed when he was 16, and this was going to be his first tattoo. It's something that I've gone through my grieving process with this, so I can talk about it freely. I don't mean to like bring the chat down or anything, but this is a Japanese kanji for strength or power. He was way into anime culture, and since he couldn't get it as his first tattoo, I decided to get it in his stead. This is a wedding ring tattoo that I got when I got married the first time. I learned that that was something of a mistake. This is the wedding ring I now wear for my current marriage. And then here I have a sleeve. This is in progress right now, but it's There's a fox that's going to be colored in purple here. There's a raven on my my upper arm here, and it goes all the way up to my shoulder, and it's with a lot of like sacred geometry, iconography in the background and stuff. And those are just sort of totems that I have grown to be like. This is the first time I've gotten a tattoo where I thought, what if I just made something, you know, what if I just asked for something pretty? What if it doesn't need to have like extremely deep symbolism, and I just pick some stuff that is really appealing to me and just decorate, literally decorate myself. So that's what this piece is, and it's still in progress. I haven't been able to go back and continue to get it filled in by my fantastic local artist, Chappie. His Instagram is @ChappieSTL. Just because of financial issues, but we'll get there. Hey, it's Isabelle. There she is. Let's see. Adam, I was making an Isabelle from Animal Crossing. Alright. Catching up here. Maya, I'm thrilled to brighten your evening. Give away the ideas. Can you buy that griddle on your website, says Bobby in the shop. You absolutely can. This is the Dancakes Pancake Art Griddle. It's included in the Dancakes Pancake Art Kit, which it comes with the spatula. It comes with these 3 squeeze bottles. So these are like slightly larger, and you'll notice that I put my more frequently used colors in here. It also comes with a fill bottle, which is not identical to this, but it's basically the same idea, and a guidebook for how to do pancake, like an illustrated guidebook. So you get, I mean, it's a gorgeous griddle, gorgeous tools. I'm really, really thrilled with them. I'm glad we were able to make something that is actually sort of worth being made, if that makes sense. And then all these tall, small squeeze bottles here, these are also available on the website. You can buy them individually, or you can buy, we have something called the Dancakes Palette Expansion Bundle, which includes 10 of them, plus the gel colors that we use to color all the batter. So you can get all of these pancake art tools on our website, and it's one of the things that we're trying to push right now, just so we can get more people interested in pancake art and giving it a shot. It's a great thing for holidays and stuff. Let's see. Awesome, Bobby. I hope you do, and I hope you have a lot of fun making stuff with it. All right. Cornucopia was one of the requests, or the suggestions we had earlier. And I feel like I could probably make something pretty cool out of that. So I'm going to move on to something that's going to take a little bit longer than these. Those first 2 were very simple. Fan service, as it were. How you doing, Bang Dream? Thanks for dropping into the chat. Caught up on the messages here, so. Let's see. Cornucopia. I can't see or think about a cornucopia without thinking about that stupid Adult Swim gag they do around Thanksgiving, where they just say random things with a rock track and just stuff it in the cornucopia. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, that's okay. I don't know if I should explain it, because it's like weird TV meme culture. I'm using a loose reference for this, just so I can get some ideas for how I should texture it. Osiris says, can you actually eat those? You absolutely can, Osiris. All the colors I'm using are completely food safe. They are, it's a thing called gel colors. It's what they put in cupcake icing to get those really bright, vibrant colors that you see in, you know, professional bakers' cupcakes and that sort of thing. But yeah, we decided a long time ago that if we were going to be pancake artists, there's really no point to picking this as a medium if you're not going to be able to eat the final product. Now, that being said, a lot of these won't be eaten just because we preserve them and we try to sell them as actual art pieces, which has been a really special thing that we've been able to do. It's certainly made me really happy, just being able to actually save my work instead of eat it or throw it away after all these years. I can't really tell you what that feels like. It's like taking off the weirdest spiritual weight vest. I don't know if that analogy makes sense. I think Dana and Hank are in the other room singing Accidentally in Love. I don't know if y'all can hear that. Probably not. The mic's probably not picking it up. But they're literally just in there singing their hearts out. We have such a goofy team here. Dead Cat FD says, make a Pikachu's pancake, please. I'll do you one better. Excuse me. I'll show you a gorgeous preserved Pikachu that I already made. Just happen to have this sitting in the back room there. I think this one's on the website too. But yeah, this is one of my. I actually really like how this one turned out. So, you know, take a look at the Dancake shop, because we especially with these Joy of Pancakes streams, we've just started making a ton of art, and it would be fantastic to start selling more of it. So if you want to have a Dancake on your wall, you know the right place. I saw a comment from Silly Things of Life. He said, tell us, what is your first memory? If funny, it'll be best. I don't know if my first memory is funny. It's very vague. I think my earliest memory that I can recall, and I think that there's the funny thing about early memories, like childhood memories, is that there's a point where you don't necessarily have, I don't know how to say this other than time context. Like, I remember when I learned what year it was, and that wasn't until I was like 5 years old, right? Like, I didn't really have any reason to care that it was 1995 until my kindergarten teacher was like, this is the year. And I was like, oh, okay. But it's like, once you learn about the existence of time, you know, your brain starts to categorize things a little differently. So I can't really be for sure. I guess what I'm only saying that to say that I can't really be sure what my earliest memory is, because, you know, you start trying to plumb into the depths of your early childhood psyche, and it's really hard to parse out when, where, why, how things were happening, because your brain wasn't fully developed. But the earliest memory I have is not funny, it's just vague. It's just, I just remember being in a house. I think it was my grandma's house, or a grandma's house. The carpet was a strange shade of green, and that's it. It's just that. I guess it's kind of funny in that that's all it is. But yeah, it is an interesting question. It kind of forces you to think about concepts of memory and time. Time fascinates me. Deep time, quantum time. I think there's this book I bought. I really, what's it called? The Order of Time. I can't remember the author's name. Gosh, he's got an Italian name. He's a physicist who specializes in questions of time and like quantum flux and all these sorts of weird, really bizarre questions that some of the brightest minds in the world scratch their heads trying to figure out. Carlo Rovelli, I think, if anybody's is interested in, you know, quantum physics and stuff as I am. Quantum physics books are interesting because I'm not a particularly academic person. Like, I didn't go to school. I have learning anxiety to a certain extent, and I blame school for a lot of that, honestly. But there's a couple books that I've just been so interested in the subject matter that I've been able to force myself to sit and learn what they have to say. And The Order of Time really was like super fascinating to me. Like the whole book is about like what time is as a concept, you know, like we take it very much for granted. Like, oh yeah, time. Like, oh, I gotta be at that place on time. But we don't actually think very often about how can you describe it with calculations? We know that it exists. We know how it works. We know that it affects things. It's this constant rate of change in the universe, but it's a very slippery concept when you try to think about it in terms of like science and physics. And I find that stuff extremely interesting. And I think one of my favorite parts of that book was just that the conclusion he really kind of drew at the end, as far as like what time is that more than anything, at least when we think about time is subjective. Time is it's what you experience when you think about time. And just sort of falling back on it's a philosophical question more than it is a science question. About, you know, the way that things, like time is very subjective, and it very much moves and changes based on who's observing it, when and where, and more than that, how their brain observes time. Like, you could argue that different people perceive the passage of time differently. You know, because ultimately the perception of the passage of time is, in a lot of cases, what we consider time to be. Because there's no, you know, like a fly has a different frame of reference. You know, its entire life can be a 24-hour period. So... Jason, I appreciate you saying that. I try to do pancake wizardry to the best of my ability. Let's see, Charlene, you asking if I can make a nice cross, like a crucifix? Is that what you're asking for? I might. I'm certainly capable of it. What else we got? Silly things of life. Have you ever heard about past life regression? If you have, then do you believe in an afterlife? Now, these are the questions. These are the questions I like to talk about. Past life regression, I don't know if I could necessarily explain what that is. I feel like if somebody gave me the gist, I'd be like, oh, yeah, I get that stuff. An afterlife is an interesting question because, like, there's concepts out there like heaven and hell are the big ones, certainly in Christian theology. And I suppose that certain traditions believe in like reincarnation, right? Like that when you die, you will come back as in another form, not necessarily in possession of memory that you were another form before that. I really vibe with the reincarnation idea just because I think it agrees with physics. Because, you know, if I die, it's not like my body goes away. It decays. It turns into the food of plants and, you know, microbes in the soil and that kind of stuff. And eventually, like I think one of my favorite things in the world that I've seen as far as like end of life preparations is there's a service that will put you will be cremated and your ashes will be put into a bulb for a tree. I adore that idea so much because I think it honors sort of the circle of life, right? Like the nutrients of your physical body will go to nourish this tree, and your loved ones who survive you, that don't pass on into the great beyond with you or whatever, at that point can literally go to a tree and know that it is made out of a large part of what you used to be physically made out of. And so there's something really beautiful and moving about that to me, and comforting, I think, too. I think a lot of times when we're looking at the ends of our lives, we're thinking about comfort. We're trying to find some sense of meaning in the chaos of it all, some way for our lives to have more meaning and for us dying to be meaningful. And I think it really, having your ashes go straight into the life force of a new form of life is one of the most pleasing, I think, ways to just, hey, I would like to reincarnate as this specific tree. Silly Things of Life says it's a psychological concept. Now it's used in psychotherapy to treat pain and anxiety also. Past life regression. Sort of like, I feel like I'd need more context to really understand it, to really wrap my brain around it. And I love that stuff. I think this is going to be a tasty looking cornucopia. Who doesn't love a good cornucopia, right? Regression to past life. So like reflecting on your previous incarnations, is that kind of the idea? Or is it more going back to your own childhood, that kind of thing? Almost like a thought experiment. This is coming together nicely. Get some nice dark purples in here. A little bit more color in there. Who doesn't love a delicious cornucopia? And then once I properly illustrate the cornucopia, I'm going to give it a little bit more of a background here, so it can have a little bit more visual context. Where is my, there it is. Thanks, Noodle Princess. I appreciate you saying so. I think it'll be a really pretty one. It's interesting, I think things like this are more likely to do well on like our store and that sort of thing, just because they're like universal images, you know, something that would just like look nice on your wall during Thanksgiving dinner or something like that. Okay, let's give this a canvas. Perfect. Kind of trying to do like a little illustration of a Thanksgiving table. Maybe one of those fancy cabinets in the background, you know, people put their nicest china. Like a long time ago, somebody explained to me, I think it was somebody I was talking to on DeviantArt, back long time ago when I was like 15, who explained to me that it doesn't really matter if your backgrounds look perfectly gorgeous. It matters a lot more that you draw them, that you give whatever design you're working on some kind of context, some kind of visual, you know, give it a home, give it somewhere to be. I think that was great advice. Kind of going for that checkerboard tablecloth pattern. Hey Adam, I don't think you missed too much. We talked a little bit about deep time and reincarnation. And the cornucopia is coming together nicely. Maya, I think the Dancakes team is doing pretty good. Certainly better than we had been for a couple weeks ago. Like I said, we've all been dealing with some burnout, and I think we finally got to a point where we were able to start taking better care of our mental health. And so tonight is kind of a part of that. We're all gonna get together and have a little bit of a get together and not be working for a change. Hank picked up a couple of video games for us to play. We're bringing our swim trunks because Hank, he like got a hot tub. He didn't buy it. He like salvaged it and then fixed it up because that's the kind of person he is. He's just capable of strange feats of. He's a bit of a hand wizard. That's how I think of it anyway. Pancake's resident hand wizard. All right. Interesting color selection going on here. This would be a cool one to flip over. Cornucopia. Oh, I think they might be playing Rock Band. I think that's why they're singing in there. Hank had his little brother bring over a copy of Rock Band last night. Interesting. Thanks, Adam. Appreciate you saying that. All right, we're gonna kick this griddle on. After this one, I'm gonna do Spooky Ghost. Pancake art. Does Dr. Dan need another card? I don't need another card, Sky Kid, but I'll take one. Our friend Skylar has made us some feel better cards, and they did in fact help us feel better. And they drew our favorite Pokemon and mailed them to us. It was really cool. Okay. So while that cooks, if y'all will give me just 1 second, I am going to go grab my smoothie. I brought a smoothie to work with me today. Yeah, they're in there doing Rock Band. I was correct. They're playing Danny California right now. All right. So actually, while that cooks, I think I might drop a message on my personal Instagram. Just for S's and G's. Hey guys, I'm live on the Joy of Pancakes right now, so if you want to come check out the stream, take a look at the link in my bio. Love to see you there. Hey guys, I'm live. There we go. change my little bio link real quick. Pancakes.com/live. Does it work? Does it take you to the stream? Hey, it does. Is the stream live? Wow, that's crazy. I'm on that screen. Madness. Okay. Awesome. We'll see if I can get a couple more folks checking it out. All right. Hey, Angelique, how you doing? I'm glad you think so. Silly Things of Life suggests draw the ghost one from the treat or trick. Stephanie, yeah, I love it. You can hear him jamming out too. All right. Pancake art. Stuff it in the cornucopia. Cornucopia. Stuff it in the pancake art. Gonna do the overhead. 3, 2, 1. Oh, that's nice. That's a lovely little pancake. That's very cozy. I like that a lot. Also, hi Anna, how are you? Welcome back to the stream. You're just in time for the flip. Thanks, Pearl. Pearl said when God made Dan, they really said talent. Have a photo of that one. Hi, Moon Wafers, how you doing? Thank you, Sky Kid. Thank you, Noodle Princess. Thank you, Becca. I appreciate y'all. Yeah, this will be a nice one. This will be a nice little Thanksgiving style piece. A little harvest season. I love so much that I can just press the button on the keyboard over there. It's wild to me. Okay, I'm gonna set this down and cool this off. Ghost. Spooky, spooky ghost. Misty, you said I should do the trick-or-treat ghost. Are you talking about the one that you did on your Instagram, the, from the movie Trick or Treat? Is that what you were talking about? Let's see. Priscilla, absolutely. It was a good suggestion. Yeah, that's a very iconic one. I think Sam is his name, is that right? Ugh. Yeah. Because of the Samhain. I don't know if it's the old school pronunciation of the Festival of the Dead. Okay. Bobby in the shop says a giant pumpkin. Fans' faces. Angelique, I can totally do fans' faces. Usually, I draw people's faces on the Sunday live stream that we do. It's specifically a request live stream. I know it seems a little bit like I'm taking requests right now, but it's really more of a. This is supposed to be sort of a freestyle stream. If you are interested in actually having your face made in pancake art, then drop in on the Sunday live streams, which start at 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time. And you can actually, we've got a system in place to where if you donate as little as $1, you can actually send us a photo straight to our phones. So if you have a specific image of a loved one or a pet or a family member, you can get it done on Sunday. Let's see. Lost in the sauce, once again. I see the Boba Fett suggestion, and I also see Maya says, no please, no Boba Fett. Can I ask why no Boba Fett, Maya? It seems like... You don't like him? You don't like Boba Fett? Is there anything in particular? Any reason in particular why you don't like Boba Fett? Becca, thanks for dropping in. It's always a pleasure to see you in the chat. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And yeah, we'll see you next time. We'll see you either Sunday or Monday. This is the next time. I think that's the next time I'll be here. You got a question, Pearl? What? Who is Boba Fett? Boba Fett is a bounty hunter from the Star Wars series. He's got that. He's got an iconic helmet, and he was like a fan favorite character from back in when they released the first trilogy. Even though he got like next to no screen time. of shine on these buttons. Maya asks, who's streaming on Sunday? It'll probably be Ben and Dana. Since I've started committing to doing these 3 Joy of Pancakes streams a week, they have stepped up to take that stream just so I can have 2 days off in a row. Because it's really important to me and my mental health that I have enough time off work to properly recover. So, yeah, it used to be me every Sunday. Now that I'm doing this, they take over for me, and it's super appreciated. Tiny little detail. Texture lines and stuff. We're going to use the dark brown. Shaheda, welcome back. Adam, sorry if I missed you dropping out there. I hope that you have a wonderful time with your nephew, and appreciate you dropping in while you did. Anna Hina asks, what was everyone planning on dressing up for Halloween this year? Well, that's a great question. My wife and I are gigantic fans of. There's a book by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett that was in the last year or so in the last 2 years, turned into a really wonderful little mini series on Amazon Prime called Good Omens, and it's about an angel and a demon who are best friends. And they are trying to avoid the apocalypse. And it's kind of a comedy. But oh, I misspelled trying to write words backwards. Misspelling how to say treat. But Hannah and I were going to go as Aziraphale and Crowley, the angel and the demon. She was going to be the angel, even though I'm definitely more that guy. Like, I fit his personality more. But I look more like Crowley than she does. Some of the best performances by David Tennant and Martin Sheen. Is Fib the angel? Yeah, Noodle Princess. If you haven't seen the miniseries, I would say that this is one of the only cases where I've seen a story that I thought was more, I liked it more as a show than as a book. Which is not something I normally say. Slenderman is a good request. Annabelle is a good request. Fib is definitely an angel, Sky Kid. You got that right. You're absolutely right about that. For those of you that don't know, Fib is the name of my cat. He is a lovely little sphinx. And he fills my life with joy. Yeah, one of the things that I really loved about the Good Omens show, Noodle Princess, was that they really played up Aziraphale and Crowley's relationship, like their friendship. I mean, they're an angel and they're a demon, so it's not like, it's not sexualized, but it is definitely, it's a little gay. But I actually really liked it because it really deepens sort of the impact of a lot of the big events that happen where, you know, like Aziraphale he thinks he gets reconstituted or whatever, and, you know, it's, I found it it was just emotionally a lot more hard-hitting as a show, certainly the way they did it, and Gaiman oversaw, because Pratchett's passed, rest in peace. Fantastic author, and, you know, kind of bummer that he's not around anymore, but Gaiman, who wrote the book with him, did a pretty good job of, like, helping run the show and consulting and making sure that all the major plot points stayed pretty much intact. You know, there's a couple of divergences from what happens in the book, but nothing so major that you know, like, if you haven't read the book in a while, you might not even notice it. And it made me very happy seeing it handled with such clearly that, you know, you can tell when a showrunner has a lot of respect for the source material, you know? You don't end up with, like, the way Game of Thrones ended. Ugh. Yeah, Neil's a fantastic creator. He's a really tremendous author, and what's the one? I'm trying to think of the one that gosh, I wish I could remember the name of this. There's a Gaiman novel that I read that I'm having trouble remembering a lot of stuff right now. Maybe I'm going crazy. But at any rate, there was a novel by Gaiman about like this underworld, this enchanted, this fairy underworld in London. I remember I sat at my diner day job and read that book almost in one sitting. It's just like infectious, you know? Let's see. We don't talk about Game of Thrones anymore. Yeah. Neverwhere. Yes, that is it. Neverwhere is absolutely it, Noodle Princess. Multitasking is hard. You're right, Moonwafers, it is hard. I was planning to make a Terry Pratchett death costume a while ago. We have a white pony called Willow. I thought it would look cool. Yeah, and Terry Pratchett's death is so iconic. It's just one of the best parts of all of his work is his interpretation of death, just as this kind, sort of slightly out of it, awkward guy, old, kind of like a wise old man that doesn't quite know what's going on around him or why people behave the way they behave. Yeah, death is such a fantastic character in his books. And I love the way that he has characters, you know, I love that most of his books are written within the one sort of continuous universe, but they're not really continuous stories, right? Like, it's not one big saga. It's a bunch of different tales that he decided to tell in, like, his D&D campaign or whatever. Yeah, I really like... It's so lovely. The Night Watch is one of my favorites. The first one I ever read was... it was actually my wife that got me into Terry Pratchett. What was the one with... Going Postal, that's what it's called. Going Postal was the first Pratchett book I ever read, and it was fantastic. The mail systems of Ankh-Morpork. I saw a picture on Twitter pretty recently of Pratchett's like writing setup, like where he did his writing, and he had like 4 monitors, like 4 computer monitors set up. And I was like, no, that makes sense. Because, you know, you think about the way, like, you can tell that he does a lot of really obscure research to make his settings kind of come to life. You know, the Ankh-Morpork, the city infrastructure, all that kind of stuff. It's fantastic. Yeah, Purple Anubis, new overlay. It's probably going to expand bit by bit over the coming days and weeks. Because Ben has started to help out with that, and he's definitely more of a tech guy than I am. It's really, he's such a huge help to this freaking company. But yeah, Ben's figuring out how to like use widgets with restream and that kind of thing, and so I'm really excited to see what we figure out in the next indefinite period of time. Just kind of got this scummy wall behind this character. Somebody said, Pearl, Dan, any other book or series recommendations? We need something to do in quarantine. That's a great question. Actually, I have a really good one, especially since it's getting to Halloween. It's kind of the spooky time of the year. There's a podcast. Now, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts because I don't know, I just don't get around to it. I listen to a lot of audiobooks instead. But there's one in particular that kind of jumped out at me when my wife introduced me to it. It's called The Magnus Archives. And I gotta tell you, it is some of the most compelling and engaging horror writing that I've ever read or experienced. Well, yeah, I'm not reading it, I'm listening to it. Fantastic sound design, fantastic writing, fantastic characters. And it starts out as just kind of an episodic, the premise is that there's this guy who's trying to transcribe the statements in this archive that collects people's statements on the supernatural. His predecessor, he recently got the job, and his predecessor left it in a disarray, and so he's going through the statements one at a time and committing them to a tape recording. You get the premise that it's kind of this frame story, but it's not really. It's really just this guy going through and reading spooky stories. But over time, this enormous spiraling external narrative starts to build up. And where they're at right now, start at the beginning. Don't just listen to it, right? Because if you just tune in and listen to it, you're going to spoil a bunch of stuff for yourself or have no context. But if you start at the beginning and listen to it, there's like 175 or something episodes. They're about 20 minutes each, so you'll be going for a while. I listened to about 4 a night for several weeks, several months before I got caught up. I would say that would be definitely my hardcore recommendation if you're looking for something to do in quarantine, because gosh, I love it. And it's the writing, it's good and it's funny and it's clever, but it's also like there's episodes that like actually freaked me out, which I like in scary stories. And also, I suppose, one of the other things I like about it is it's inclusive, right? Like there's a lot of characters that are like there's queer representation and that kind of stuff, but that it's not campy, It's like a person can just have that as a part of their identity without it being a focus of their identity, And so I always appreciate that when a story is able to like incorporate characters that might not be your standard run-of-the-mill cisgender straight white person, and also not draw weird attention to it like they should be congratulated for it. It's not that hard to do, you just gotta do it. So yeah, that's high up on my list. Let's see, Pennsylvania's pretty cool. Catching up on some of these comments. Oh, that's Anna the Hyena said, could you do a Discworld pancake with Atuin? That is a very good suggestion. For those of you that don't know, Atuin is the in Terry Pratchett's Discworld franchise. The world is supported on the backs of 4 elephants that are themselves standing atop a turtle that is sailing through the cosmos, and the turtle is called the Great Atuin. That's actually a really fun idea. I might do that. Like, it's literally, you're basically asking me to draw a picture of Discworld, which is cool. I might do that. Yeah, I'm very compelled to do that. Cassie Huffnagel on Facebook says, what do you do when you're not here making pancakes? I spend a lot of time, with my wife. I spend a lot of time, I sleep in a lot. And when I'm not on the stream making pancakes, often I am doing commission pancakes for, people will have us make YouTube videos or preservation pancakes for walls and stuff like that. Oh, did that just... Oh dear. I just rolled a bottle underneath my griddle. Oops. Don't mind me. Just putting stuff where it's not supposed to go. And also I design games. I do all kinds of weird stuff. I make music. There's actually this enormous multimedia project that I've been working on that we funded on Kickstarter a couple months ago called Anthromancer. It's ANTHROMANCER. You can find it on Facebook and YouTube, and it's something that's really I'm really passionate about. It's mostly a board game, but there's a lot of other things that go along with it to sort of deepen your experience with the game. And I'm extremely passionate about it. My long-term dream is to build Anthromancer into like this gaming empire, so I can one day be like Pegasus from the Yu-Gi-Oh series, own a private island and host tournaments on it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and flip this trick-or-treat pancake. 3, 2, 1. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I like that a lot. Snap a photo of that. Neat. Okay. Thanks, Pearl. All right. Let's do something. So both of the last two, actually all the pancakes I did on the stream so far, I used a reference, and I think they're very, very cool. I like how they turned out. But let's come up with something else, right? Let's come up with something. I see Dan is the new Kaiba. Yeah, I just need to start popping my collar and we're gonna just dress like a PS5. So yeah, let's come up with one more, and then I will, and then I'll cool down and pack up and go hang out with my friends in the other room. So if you're in the stream right now, if you're in the chat, give me some suggestions for what I should make in my next pancake. Because I know we had some earlier. I don't want to go hunting through the chat for it because we got a ton of comments in here. But yeah. Oh, thank you, Charlene. I appreciate you saying that. It's extremely kind of you. Discworld, okay, yeah. Yeah, no, I may as well, right? Yeah. I may as well. I love it, Tuin. That's a great one. It looks like there's some really fun references here. An animated one. I don't know if y'all can see that. Such a brilliant setting. Alright, here's what I'll do. I'm just going to take sort of the classic. And I'll get one with the background too, so that we can really have fun with it. Yeah. Atuin! I think, I'm not sure, but I believe it's Pratchett. Pratchett's got so many great quotes, but I think he's the one that's, it's in his story where somebody asks, well, and what's underneath the great turtle? And she's like, oh, you can't fool me. It's turtles all the way down. Yeah, I think this is going to be a really cool one. Hi, Lay Daniel. I can't read what you're writing, but I do see you in the chat, and so I want you to know that we see you. Yeah, the edge of this ring world is Discworld. The water just spills off the edge. And I've got your whole family to watch this now. That's fantastic. Thanks for watching, everybody. And of course, I'm thrilled to make this. This is one of my favorite franchises, and I think honestly, it blows my mind that it took me until I was in my 20s to find out who Terry Pratchett was. His work is exceptional. Lots of different colors here. Stephanie Annette asks, do you ever make landscape pancakes? I do. In fact, a lot of the stuff that I make on the Joy of Pancakes is landscape stuff. Today's been... I've kind of been relaxing about the rules I was setting for myself. Because when I started doing these, I was like, I'm just going to do free-form, freestyle, landscape-style pancakes. And I sort of, like, I guess I softened to that just because I realized that it's kind of boring to just do the same thing over and over again. But I kind of go back and forth on them sometimes. And in fact, when the camera's on me, you can actually see a couple of the ones behind me are landscapey, especially the one in the top left. This one, right there. That's a moonrise landscape. If y'all, I see, Cohen, you asked why aren't many people watching. This is pretty epic. I honestly, it's probably because I don't do the best job of promoting it on my own. I kind of cross my fingers and hope that word of mouth, you know, if it's worth watching, I think eventually more and more people will tune in. But if y'all want to share this on your Facebooks or social media just to see if we can get a couple more people watching, that would be super helpful to me. I don't normally ask for folks to do that just because I don't really worry about it too much, but it would be really cool to have, you know, to look up and see, you know, a ton of people flood into the chat or something. I try not to worry too much about it just because I know that, I don't know, I have faith that if I do this for long enough, eventually we'll get to a point where a lot of people are tuning in on a regular basis. Because, I mean, a lot of the people that are in the chat right now are people who I've seen y'all almost every stream we've done, and you've been super kind and supportive, and, you know, my theory is that if as long as I keep doing it when I do it, that eventually that number of the people who know when this is happening and want to tune in and say hello will just increase. So, yeah. Yeah, well, I see you now. Yeah, Ben put up that chat widget, and in his usual Ben way, made everything better. And he's been working tirelessly on the website and all kinds of stuff. Oh, look at me dropping more stuff under my griddle. Gnat. So we can get these weather patterns to look quite like, if we look over here. Well, is this a celestial cow? Sort of. It's a Tuin, the turtle from Terry Pratchett's Discworld series, who sails through the cosmos with 4 elephants standing on his back, and the planet, or well, the world, the Discworld, rests atop a Tuin's back. This is very inventive cosmology that Pratchett has. It's one of the more famous pieces of his world building. You can't fool me, it's turtles all the way down. I'm going to get this cloud cover to look right before I do any kind of land mass underneath it. Dan, when are you going to make the Pancake Studio Discord, asks Maya. You know, that's a really fantastic question. I have been letting it get away from me. I will put, as soon as I finish this pancake, I will put a reminder in my calendar to set that up so that we can have a consistent place for Pancake community things to be announced and promoted and that sort of thing. Because I think that is a really good idea. And I'd like to take advantage of it, take advantage of some of the tools and things that we have at our disposal now. Anna, I see your comment, and tell your mom that I appreciate it. I've been practicing for a long time. It's all led up to this moment here. A lot of colors on this turtle. Sneaky colors. Colors that don't necessarily wish to be discovered. One of the things that I've found as I've grown as an artist and done more and more of these sorts of designs that have, like, if I want to do super painterly, I need to pay really close attention, is that, like, a lot of times it's not so much about the color being perfect as it is that you get the right kinds of contrast in the right areas. So, like, I don't necessarily see navy blue here under the arm right there, and I don't even necessarily see this dark brown. It's more of like a black kind of color, but I'm looking more at the general zones of shading and, like, using my darker colors to try and accommodate those zones. I'm actually going to use black here. When I put down those, like, light blue highlights and stuff, often that's the only color a zone will really need, because that's just enough to differentiate it from whatever it's around. Some of those darker greens in there. Lighter green, highlight. There. So those wrinkles. A lot of colors going on here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and fill the rest in with this mid-green. It may not be perfect, but I think it'll be pretty cool either way. And I think the core thing is that the vibe will be expressed. You'll be able to tell that this is a tune. If you're familiar with Discworld at all, you'll recognize this. So now, I've got to come and give this a bit of an aura here. Seems like it's glowing a little bit. Just a little bit. And then a Tuin has sort of a light blue, darker blue glow. Oh, got a clog. That happens. Come on. There we go. All right, I'm going to give myself a canvas real quick, and then we're going to do the stars around. That's pretty good. Yes, Maya, you did just hear the dog. He was outside. Hank's out there playing with him, I think. It's Hank's dog. He's a good boy. Okay. So. Bigger dots. I'm going to give them this blue outline. And then all the smaller dots, as well as everything else, you get this navy outline, sort of slowly making it darker. Gradient into the eventual black background. Okay. Get a little purple here. Space gas. Just to fill up some of that space. Give it a little bit more of a vibe. Mess it up a little bit so it looks a little bit more gassy. And then we'll come through and we'll Line it with the black. This bottle has a finer tip than a lot of the other bottles I'm using, so that's why I'm squeezing with two hands, because it's getting a little bit of a strain on my wrist or on my thumb. Almost there. Okay. I'm going to kick the griddle on. I'm going to give this a nice little border. Cool. And go ahead and put a little bit of back on here, just to give it a little bit more body, make it more likely that it'll survive the freeze drying process, the flip, all that stuff. A little bit more pancake. All right. Yeah, Miami too. I think today's been a really good stream, and I think all three of the big pieces I did, plus, of course, these two, have been fantastic. Oh, Anna, I'm so glad to hear that. I'm sorry that your mom has had a terrible time at work this week, and I'm so glad that I can bring a little bit of joy to y'all. This is it's cool to be able to share. You know, Pratchett has a wonderful legacy. I think one of the things that Pratchett does that you don't see a lot. I mean, there's a ton of writers out there who do fantasy and all that stuff, and there's a lot of folks who are pretty good at it, and a lot of folks who are, some of it's derivative. But I think what Pratchett always managed to do with his writing that just makes it so timeless is you could tell that he was an extremely compassionate person just from the way that he expressed philosophical questions. You know, the way that his death, that Pratchett's death expresses his, you know, confusion with mortal rituals, and he has that really, really amazing monologue at the end of The Hogfather where he talks about, you know, the little lies we have to believe so that we can believe the big lies, like justice and order and things like that. Justice, like I think it takes a very thoughtful person to understand reality enough to make those kinds of arguments. And yeah, you know, a lot of his books, in addition to making you laugh and making you smile and making you cry, also make you think. And he really struck quite a chord with some of his work. I think we were all better off for. So I'm glad that your family is into Terry Pratchett as I am. This is a good request. It makes me happy to make it, and it's almost done here. So y'all ready to see the turtle on whose back Discworld rests? The great Atun. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I'm happy with that. We had excuse me. Oh, Rahab, you'll be able, if you want to watch the rest of the stream, you can always check it again, and you know, we always do we do future ones, and ultimately we're gonna just do tons of these for indefinitely. I don't have any intention of stopping doing this stream 3 times a week, because I love it, and I love y'all coming here and encouraging me and giving me suggestions, and it really floats my boat, as it were. You know what? I've got enough batter. Let's do one more. I'm going to do one more pancake just to round this out, because I'm really happy with my output today. Clearly, I'm having a good mental health day, and I think all 3 of these pieces are exceptional. So give me another suggestion, y'all. Give me one more suggestion in the chat, because I'm just feeling it. I'm gonna send this picture to my wife Hannah, because she'll get a big old kick out of it. Yeah, absolutely, Anna. And that all of these are going to be preserved. So at a certain point, you'll probably see it on the wall behind me. Halloween themed Hulk. Silly, says Wella. An image of the Hulk holding a gigantic jack-o'-lantern. A snowman with a pumpkin head. Sky Kid says, Dr. Dan picks artist choice. Slenderman. Ooh. Ooh. Here's what I'll say, because Maya, you've been making this Hulk request for a while. I will commit to making you a Hulk pancake on the next stream if you're okay with waiting. But yes, Slenderman. I would like to do a Slenderman, because Slenderman's interesting because it's like one of those archetypal fears, right? Yeah, I've already got an idea for how I'm going to do this. Stephanie, that is a very clever idea. Roll for the page and the monster for the monster manual. That's a really interesting idea. I like that a lot. That sounds like a special stream, like something we should just, like an event, right? Like, I like that a lot. Gosh, well, and I have some connections in the Wizards of the Coast world, thanks to Lee, our other artist, who's like super into D&D, and he actually streams with a company called Idle Champions, or he streams with a company called C&E Games on Twitch on Fridays. He did one right before we did this stream, and they work with Dungeons and Dragons all the time, and so we're connected to a lot of those folks. I'm 2 degrees of separation from Matthew Mercer, so I think it's a really good idea. Yeah, I'll talk to the Dancakes team about that. That sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, Slenderman. So we're going to start with the canvas this time. There we go. Good enough. I'm getting better at my circles, y'all. And I'm glad to hear that. Hey, how you doing, Claudia? Another fantastic pancake artist joined the chat. Our friend Pancakes from Mexico. We sent them a Dancakes kit, and I am blown away by their artistic output. Thanks for dropping into the chat. It's good to see you. All right, we're doing Slenderman. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start. I'm going to do it kind of sideways. Wipe that away. Let me think about this. Compositionally, I think Slenderman looks best if you do a little bit of aspect, some perspective. I need to kind of looking at my hand here, trying to figure something out. Make those fingers a little bit thinner. This could be an interesting one. Sipping my smoothie. Oh, Anna, I'm so glad to hear that. This is going to be interesting. Oh, hey, Ashley, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. I hope you're feeling all right. We're in the middle of doing Slenderman. Slenderman pancake art. I think Slenderman is another one of those sort of strange psychological tropes. We talked about this on a previous stream about nightmare psychology and how there's a really, really common form of nightmare that comes from sleep paralysis, where your brain, you basically have an anxiety attack while you're unconscious, or while you're half conscious, because your brain and body are trying to figure out why you can't move, and yet your heart rate's accelerating. And so your brain comes up with these entities. It tries to explain what's happening to it in terms of a dangerous presence being nearby. But there's no discerning features to it because it's not actually there. It's just your brain's trying to come up with an explanation for why you're so terrified. And so you can actually hallucinate that a being is there. You know, a lot of times it'll be like because there's a shadow in the corner of your room or something like that. Your brain will project onto it that there's a shape there, the shape of an entity. Kind of trying to create like a blurry outline here, sort of capture that dream logic. But Slenderman is a really common thing to be afraid of, just like this weirdly gaunt, unnatural, alien-looking entity that you're just terrified of. Like it's just, for whatever reason, it just seems like this thing has it out for me. Because I don't know what it is, and I can't explain it, but it's terrifying. So here's what we're going to do. A couple other colors in there just to kind of intentionally made the outlines rough because I wanted it to kind of look a little blurry, a little distorted. see if that translates. Siren Head. I'm not familiar with Siren Head. I would totally be happy to do it, whatever it is. It sounds like it's not obscure, like more than one person is responding to it. Silly things of life. Dan, what is your greatest fear? Ooh. That's a great question. I'm not ashamed to admit that I still occasionally have fear of the dark. And as I've grown up, I've kind of gotten over it a little bit, because like you can't. Like sometimes as an adult, sorry man, you got to go into your basement. Stuff down there you need. But yes, I've always had a very active imagination, and I think that's part of the reason that darkness has been such a... Because, darkness is really, like what I was talking about before, like it's a psychological canvas. It's literally just your brain can project whatever the heck it wants to on things that on darkness, and come up with all kinds of reasons why there's a monster in there or something. I don't know if I would necessarily say it's my greatest. Seems a little bit disingenuous, because I don't... It's not that honestly, right now, my greatest fear is America. My greatest fear is the American political situation. Yeah, and, my brain's constantly interpreting, like, it's not uncommon where I live, the city I live in, for you to hear gunshots, just because crime. But lately, I have had to catch myself, if I spend too much time on the news that day, I have to kind of catch myself and be like, oh, it's the Civil War, it's happening again. And I'm like, no, it's not happening, Dan. Like, you're just looking for reasons to justify the baseline fear that the media already puts into everybody's brain. It's not healthy, and at least I can acknowledge that. It's like a weird hallway of spooky trees. Fear of missing out or being left behind on something. Yeah, that makes sense. That one's a tough one too. I think fear of missing out is it can be really it can be kind of a jerk of a fear, because it can manifest itself, right? Like you can accidentally miss out on things because you were afraid of missing out on other things, and it can mess up your energy. I know it can be a source of... I've had that in the past, where it's just like this massive source of anxiety. Like, you end up doing things you don't really want to do, or you don't really feel super compelled to do, just because you're afraid of missing out. That one's a sucker. Humanoid monster made back in 2018 by Trevor Henderson. It later got turned into fan-made games, and the art was pretty epic. I'll have to check it out. Michelle Hughes. Hi, Michelle. How are you? I do animals all the time. This stream is going to be winding down after this pancake here, but yeah, we make all kinds of stuff. I think it's whatever people want. Very afraid of not having freedom. Yep. A lot of people have that one. Sensible. I think there's a lot to be said for how you define freedom. Because in a lot of ways, most of us are not that free. And in a lot of ways, most of us are more free than we think we are. It's going to be an interesting one. Be a good moonlight sort of. Greens, maybe? Yeah, purple and green is great for evil vibes. Sort of a villain vibes. And when I'm talking about freedom there, I think there's a couple different ways to think about freedom. I mean, I think one thing people make the mistake of is they think that freedom means literally having the freedom to do whatever it is you want to do, whatever impulse you happen to have, being free to follow that. And most of us don't have that level of freedom. Really, it's only the super wealthy. And even they don't have complete freedom in that regard. Like, you know, you can't be completely free from consequences. But I think there's another more important, subtle kind of freedom that people don't talk about as much, which comes from spiritual freedom, right? Like the freedom to, inner freedom, I guess, peace, being free to choose your state of mind in whatever circumstances you happen to be in. That's one that doesn't get talked about as often because it's harder to make money off of it. But that's one of the things that like great Buddhist teachers and stuff and Zen masters and mindfulness practitioners and coaches and stuff are always hammering on about is realizing the ability of the human mind to be mindful of whatever they're going through and in a way, through that mindfulness, transcend their circumstances, transcend whatever situation they happen to be facing or dealing with, rising above it instead of being, you know, chained to it, instead of being doomed to always have your mind state be the emergent result of whatever is happening to you, having the freedom to rise above it. And, you know, I think there's a lot to be said about that, because there's people that have composed poetry while in political prisons, you know, like they didn't even have paper. They did it using rote memory and taught it to other prisoners and stuff. There's a really wonderful book called Flow by a guy named Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. Cannot spell it for the life of me, but the book is very famous, and it's about the science of happiness and about why some people are able to maintain a sense of spiritual wholeness even through like extremely dire situations, like concentration camps, you know, being imprisoned against your will, having your family killed, all these things that, you know, when we are comfortable, we'd think of them as like world-shattering, completely debilitating things. And obviously, we don't want those things to happen, especially not to us or to the people we love. But we also have to keep in mind that, like, if you end up in a situation like that, how much control do you really have? How much power do you really have to determine what the universe delivers to you versus how much control you have to determine how you choose to face what the universe delivers to you? I would argue that you have no power to determine what the universe delivers to you, right? Like me in this goofy job I have, which is fantastic, it's not something that I sought. It's not something I looked for. It's something that happened to me. It wasn't something I predicted. It wasn't something I planned for, but I accepted it. I chose to face it with openness, and now it's this beautiful thing where I can share this fantastic art with people across the world and sell it and do all kinds of fun stuff with it. But I think the same philosophy applies for if it had been a really bad thing that had happened to me, right? Like when my brother died, you know? Oh, my wife is calling me repeatedly. Give me 1 second, y'all. I'm going to turn off this mic and talk to her real quick. Okay, I'm gonna have to wrap this stream up. Gotta go pick my wife up. She's having vehicle problems. Let's see. Got some comments here, a lot of suggestions. This is gonna be the last one. Fear of abandonment. Who's writing the comments on the right-hand side? That's Michelle. That's all folks from. We're streaming on multiple platforms, so that's from YouTube. Most of these comments are from YouTube today. YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook are all on the same comment feed. Yeah, Stephanie, that's a great idea. I've got a bunch of magic cards in the other room. All right. Yep. Here we go. Ready, everybody? It is flip time. Slenderman, pancake art, and then I got a jet. All right. 3, 2, 1. Ooh. Oh, I really like how that turned out. That's spooky. Let me rotate it to the proper orientation, see if it's... That's pretty cool. I like it sideways like that. It's spookier that way. That's pretty neat. I love it. All right, so like I said, I'm going to have to go and pick Hannah up. But as usual, I will do a little roundup here so y'all can take a look at all the lovely pancakes that were made on this stream. We actually made 6 today. The first 2 were little warm-up ones, little smaller ones. Let me move this stuff out the way. Plate this bad boy. Yeah, I'm really happy with my output today. All 4 of these are lovely. Yeah. Shut that down. There we go. And, of course, Isabelle and the Purple Among Us character. That's how we got the stream started. So, as per usual, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. It is an extreme privilege that I get to sit here and make art for you all and, you know, talk about philosophy and random stuff that comes to mind. Psychology of horror, yada, yada, yada. I really appreciate all your suggestions and all your engagement. That makes me feel super fantastic. And Sunday is going to be the next stream. It's not going to be Joy of Pancakes. That's our request stream. It starts at 2 p.m. Central Daylight Time. If you want to get anything you want, that's when you can tune in and have us actually make your portraits and your pets and your favorite characters and all that kind of stuff. The next Joy Pancakes will be on Monday at 2 p.m. And then Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is when we normally stream it. It would be fantastic if when we do that next time, you share it with some friends and see if we can get some more people watching. I really I really appreciate everybody in the chat hanging out. You all are fantastic. And yeah, today was a really good one. Appreciate you. And always remember, come on, do the thing. There we go. Mistakes are delicious. All right, see you around, guys.